up, guys? So, as you saw before with the refresh of the RTR, had a little technical difficulties, had to use two hands to get the hood up, and unfortunately, I had to end the first video there because I had to re-record all the second stuff. So, without further ado, here is the second part of the refresh, going over the Go Fast bits, and we've done some mods since then. So, this is going to be the second part, and then stay tuned for what we've done since the refresh. Thanks to Mr. Ralph Fisher. He gave me this cover here for the fuse box cover. Appreciate it, homie. As always, UPR coming through with clutch products that both form and function. I like the cleanliness of black tops versus the bright yellow thing sticking out, right? So I've got the UPR covers on brake fluid as well, coolant, and windshield washer reservoir. Oh, and also we have the UPR oil, the billet oil dipstick. Hey. Now, undercar, I have the billet oil drain plug as well from UPR. So anyway, super UPR equipped, thanks to those guys. I have the UPR catch can that I've modified for the driver's side over here. Steve and Brian over there are working on getting me an actual production unit. Basically, we built a spacer here, just temporarily, because these coolant lines here, when this canister is mounted directly to the PCV bar, this canister does not clear these coolant lines. So I just built a spacer out of the factory PCV line, and so that's probably gonna, if I had to guess, it's probably not airtight fitting currently, but it's good enough to get me driving and not cause any issues. And I figured some filtration was better than none. Then on the passenger side, we've got the UPR catch can in place here that attaches both to the blower and to the PCV on the valve cover there. So big shout out to UPR. Now on the install side, install was super smooth. Big thanks to Zach and Sanders and Dernan at the shop for helping me get it rocking and rolling and installed and all that jazz. The main piece of this install that there's just no words or amount of money that could ever express my gratitude is the tuning and getting it running and driving. Cy Lee from Lee Tuning and Racing is an absolute amazing human being, and he's an absolute beast. When it comes to tuning, he is going to put the car on a safe but strong tune, and that's something that's really, personally, it's close to my heart, because if you know my story, you know that I've been down the road with unsafe tunes and what they do to motors. So we wound up spending 8 hours making love to this thing because it just wouldn't run, it wouldn't start, it would not. Didn't sound like it was getting fuel down in the chambers. We had tested everything. We were getting fuel here at the fuel rail. We were getting fuel at the main hardline inlet, so we were getting fuel there. We checked, we were getting fuel here at the fuel rail itself. We checked the back side of the injectors. They were wet. Front side of the injectors were not wet, so the pulse width just wasn't coming through to the injectors. So Cy checked and checked and checked, and you have no idea the things that we went through. We unplugged every piece of harness, replugged in every sensor, undid every coil pack, redid every ground wire on the vehicle, even though those weren't touched. You name it, we did it. And come to find out, there's a little piece that was not included in instructions, and it's this little guy. And I just kind of dummied up some zip ties to hold it in place currently until I get the covers from Roush. But this little guy, it looks like a JMS Pedal Max as far as like when you look at the actual box and what it looked like out of, holding it out of the car. And it had a little pigtail on the back, a little harness adapter. And come to find out, you can't really see it, but it is, yeah, there she is. Okay, you can kind of see. It plugs into the throttle body. Now, on the Roush instructions, that part is not included in the Roush instructions. This part of the install is not included in the Roush instructions. And what we found out is at some point Roush has made a change to this throttle body as part of their install. So either I have an old set of instructions and this is the new throttle body in piece, or the opposite is true. I have the old harness and old throttle body, and their instructions have already been updated and no longer include the information for that. So one of those two things is true. I have a message in with Roush to find out. With Gavin at Roush, I've not yet heard back. So I'm hoping to get a solution there, and in the event that it's an upgrade, I'll just buy the updated throttle body and carry on with life. So for, again, there's just no words or amount of money or amount of attention or amount of sharing that I can give to Cy and for Lee Tuning and Racing, all that he did for me to allow this to happen. He literally took an entire day out of his business, away from his family, and came and spent it with me and getting this thing running and driving. So to that effect, as soon as we got the thing fired, it was like, okay, Cy, see you later. Love you, bro. Gotta go. We had gotten we'd spent 8 hours with it, finally got it running. And basically I gave him a high five and said, see you later. And so we only have a base file. Like, and when I mean base file in this car, I mean like we didn't even turn off the O2 sensors, even though it's now running long tube headers, which I haven't gotten that far yet. So I'm super looking forward to being able to get the car on the dyno with him and check it out with him and go over it and, probably turn up the power. But before doing that, there's a couple things I want to do. I want to add a cooling setup improvement upgrade and a fueling system improvement upgrade. So stay tuned for those two things. Now, as far as the last part of the refresh, probably one of the harder things to see right there, you can kind of see the long tube headers. These are from LTH Exhaust, also known as Long Tube Headers Exhaust Company. And again, same idea here, very difficult to see. And as you can see here, you can see the AC block. We do have clearance between the AC block and the header. It's very minute and with a good light, which I don't have here currently, I don't think. No lights. Anyway, the long tube headers went on flawlessly. They send you a stud that you can use to put on the front of the block to get the headers in place. And we actually used all bolts on the vehicle. We did it as a two-man install. So big shout out to Andrew Berry from Diamond Shine Motorsports who helped me get the headers on. And they fit phenomenal. I did have O2 extensions that were for the 15 to 17 style. So I just extended the O2s myself. I find wiring to be weirdly therapeutic, so that was no big deal. So extended the harnesses, all good to go there. Fitment was phenomenal. These headers are E85 friendly with the O2 sensors angled. They have a Titan finish on them. The finish is supposed to help with the heat as well as the strength of the pipes. So you shouldn't have any issues like you do with some of the eBay headers with the pipes getting thin and failing, and you shouldn't have any issues with heat as well. Now, this car is on the long tube headers from LTH, and then also I've got the X pipe from LTH, which, God, it's got a stock catback in it. And let me just tell you, it is phenomenal. And I don't think it'll remote start with the hood up. Let's try it though. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, so we'll just have to actually start the vehicle. How's that sound? But if you haven't heard this thing cold start yet, you're in for a treat. 2019 refresh of the OG RTR SEMA car. For those of you that don't know the backstory, let me know. I'll be happy to do a video with the backstory of the car again. And thanks for watching. We appreciate all your support, both locally and nationally. Actually started getting some international following. Shout out to my Australia customers. We've had, I think, like 6 orders in the last month from Australia. So big shout out to those guys. Apparently they're having difficulty getting some parts from the US out to them. So we've been happy to help. But anyway, this is, a labor of love. This has been a lot of money, a lot of pride, a lot of joy, a lot of setback. There's been some ups and downs, but I think, and I try and explain this to a lot of our customers on anything that we do. I think it just comes with the custom car world. Not everything is going to be perfect. Even Ford, with all of its masses and millions of dollars and probably billions of dollars of equipment, they still have warranty issues. They still have defects. They still have issues with fitment, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like that just kind of comes with the territory. But this is 2019 purple. I think for 2020 Mustang Week, I'll change it up again. I've got the plans all ready for that. And so anyway, big shout out to all my sponsors, to all of my friends, to all of my family, to all of our customers that have made, in any way, shape, or form, who have contributed to making this a reality. Just the fact that I get to drive this car every day and that I get to own it is pretty fucking bitchin'. So, shout out to V2 Auto Styling, Long Tube Headers, All Pro Customs, Power Stop, RTR, American Muscle, Drake, Muscle, ASD Motorsports, RTR, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Chelsea Denofa, Rob from Soundwaves, Mishimoto, UPR, Roush Ford Performance, Siley from Lee Tuning and Racing. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Shout out to my Florida S550 family. Shout out to all the Park Performance customers and friends. And the biggest shout out ever to my wife for allowing this to continue and to not divorce me, even though I've probably got our children's college money right there. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate the support. Go give this thing a like and subscribe and share it and do whatever you can to help us grow, man. We appreciate it. We're super humbled with it, and we look forward to being able to do some stuff in the future.